All right, welcome in. Celtics Postgame show. Josue Pavon, Sherrod Blakely, Jimmy Toscano's here. Well, right now it's like everyone is Josue, but hey, a lot to talk about here. We got a win at home. First it's Geno sighting, right?
How about that?
104-88. They grabbed their first home win of the regular season. There's a lot to talk about, right? A lot to get into, whether it's Robert Williams' big game, Jason Tatum picking his spots, the bench stepping up, especially without Jaylen Brown, Dennis Schroeder getting the start. But hey, Sherrod,
some good things.
Let's start with you since you were there. You know, you heard that they just turned down the Geno, I'm sure. Although the crowd is pumped up, ready to go. They finally saw a win, but there's a lot to dissect here. What do you what's your first thought here?
Well, I think the first thing we need to look at is just Robert Williams, and not only his play, but I don't know if people realize this or not, but Robert was one of the few players who talked this week who talked about payback tonight. He remembered vividly how they got their ass whipped by Toronto, and he made a point of mentioning how we can't let that happen again. And to his credit, he played with an attitude. He needs to bottle up whatever the hell got his mojo going tonight and spread that out over the rest of the season, because he was active, he was engaged, and he was impactful. When he's doing those three things at the level that he was against the Raptors tonight, the Celtics become an extremely tough team to beat. Even on the night when Jason Tatum didn't shoot the rock well, they had Robert Williams, who was to me, he was the difference maker in this game.
He was Rob Stonk. That was vintage Rob from last season.
I think the OG spirit from Al is just rubbing off on Rob. It's not just on the basketball court as well, right? I mean, of course, the physicality and all that is there, but he's talking more. I feel like he's being more vocal out there. He's been vocal with us, right? The media. He's definitely showing it for sure.
He's showing it, but you know what though? To me, this was more like when you say vintage Rob. This was like Rob playing above the rim damn near every play. Really impactful with his athleticism. It was just too bad that John Zannis is not here, because
I was just gonna say that.
This is
the one show he's not hosting. This is the best game we've seen from Rob this year.
Exactly. So he'll come back next week and be like, "What happened? What happened?" Only the guy that you've been bitching and moaning about all year played the way you wanted him to play. This is exactly what you want to see from him. I was impressed that he was able to sustain that play over extended minutes. I mean, he was at like 17 minutes in the first half and had a damn near double-double at that point.
Yeah, he looked fresh.
I think when John rewatches, or when John watches the game back or the highlights, he's going to need to do it alone, because he's going to see a lot of things that are going to excite him when it comes to Rob Stonk Williams.
Well, no, he's going to be taking notes. Trust me, he's going to remember all of that. So he'll bring it up next.
He's going to be taking notes. He's going to be dreaming about it. Absolutely. I with you, Sherrod. I mean, that was the main thing, and I know, chatting with Bobby on the text, he's going to come out firing on Rob. Thought that Rob was super active, and of course he was. And you're right. I mean, he was one of the guys who seemed to have taken it personal, what happened to them on opening night at home. So it's good. It's good that these guys. I mean, that's the pride that we were talking about. Have some pride in what you do, and have some pride in your team, and they showed that tonight. And I'll be honest, I was waiting for the Raptors comeback. I was just like, oh, here we go. It's at 9, but credit to the Celtics. They kept answering. The Raptors gave it everything they had in that second half offensively, and the Celtics answered the bell, and they stretched that lead out. They kept it in that double-digit range the whole time. I was about to fire up the comment for the fourth quarter, but I didn't need to, because it was just far enough ahead where I didn't have to get too worried about it. But
I had that tweet ready, though. I know you had.
I had it ready to send. As soon as it got to like 7 or 5, I was like, "Here we go." But other than that, though, I mean, I thought, I know we're going to talk about Tatum, but we always get on Tatum for not doing enough when he's not scoring, and tonight was an example of the opposite of that. With the facilitating he was doing, active. He was active on the glass. I think he had 10 rebounds, and he did hit some big shots. I mean, it's not like he went 1 for 10. I mean, he had some big threes in that game there. I didn't see him moping or sulking or arguing with the referees. So, I mean, for me, it's not a game. Yeah, I mean, do we want to see Tatum shoot a higher percentage? Of course, absolutely. But he finished with 22 on a night where he didn't shoot well. I mean, I think you got to take that, and you got to sort of just focus on some of the positives that he did in this game.
And the passing was really good.
You know what else he got too, Jimmy? He got those potential assists, right? He's getting all the potential.
He got a few of those. He got definitely a few of those. I saw a couple misses.
Man, and some of them were pretty too, especially the one to Marcus Smart down low. That was probably the best one of the night.
Yeah, the one that was just kind of like the no look where he's just dribbling. Next thing you know, the ball's in Marcus's hand for a while.
And Marcus is just like, "Oh, what's this doing here?" Like he didn't see it coming.
They did a really good job, I thought, of just really not only just playing with a lead and not letting it get away from them, but they played under control. And I thought defensively they were as locked in as we've seen them all season long. You didn't feel as if that Toronto moving the ball will create a matchup that Toronto could exploit, because they tried that, and the Celtics had it counted for everything Toronto did. And that's really when you're playing a team like the Raptors, who've got a number of guys who can easily get it cooking. The fact that they never allowed any of those guys to get into a rhythm, that was huge. That was.
You
huge.
know what? I'm gonna give a lot of the credit of that to the second unit. I mean, you look at someone like the combination of the youth and a veteran like Josh Richardson getting in there, getting his hands dirty, getting buckets on the other end, of course. Romeo Langford coming off the bench, banging a three from the corner that came from Jason Tatum. I mean, like, that's the kind of production that Ime needs to know that he can rely on from the second unit, regardless of what combination of players that get it done. But having that strength, off the bench in the second quarter while the starters rest, I thought that was huge, and especially in the second half, because these guys were gassed out there, Sherrod. I don't know if you noticed that, but it was something that Mike Gorman brought up, and obviously you didn't hear that, but Mike was like, these guys are looking tired. I'm like, yeah, Mike is right, because I spotted that too, and then you saw the momentum start to shift. But when the second unit guys came back in, back came that strength, right, on the defensive end. I thought that was a big part of this one.
Well, one of the big things they did, and it's a really simple thing that we talk about, but we see teams screw it up all the time. Make open shots. Literally make an open shot. You look at the way Tatum was able to dribble, drive, and kick out to Romeo or kick out to Jay Richardson coming off the bench. Those guys made open shots. And if they do that more times than not, what we saw tonight isn't going to be something that happens every once in a blue moon. It'll become a regular thing with them winning games that they're supposed to win. When you're at home and you're playing a team like Toronto, no disrespect to the Raptors, but you should win that game. That team, that's not a world-beating team. You're not talking about.
Yeah, plus Sherrod, they beat you up a couple weeks ago, right? I mean,
they whipped your ass a couple weeks ago. Let's call it what it is, Josue. They whipped that ass.
They beat your ass. That's right.
Exactly.
That's right. Excuse me. They beat your ass.
You're right. So I love the way that they took that, channeled that energy, that focus, that just basically another word for you, the pissosity of losing that game,
right?
And they handled their business. Much respect.
And they did it without Jaylen Brown, which is something that any win you can get over these next 1 to 2 weeks with him out is bonus, because the Celtics aren't really designed to win too many games without one of their 2 star players. They're just not deep enough. But who stepped up tonight? Josh Richardson. I mean, coming off the bench, you talked about that bench production in Langford. It was essentially a 7-man rotation tonight, and that's why they were so gassed. And Richardson plays 31 minutes, and honestly, this was, as far as I'm concerned, by far his best game of the season for the Celtics. What he was doing on both ends. He did hit some shots, but I mean, the defensive effort he showed. I mean, that chase down block was one that's going to stand out, obviously.
For sure.
But he just did the things that the Celtics needed him to do tonight, because they're going to need all hands on deck. And yeah, they are going to probably be gassed over these next couple of weeks, because you're trying to fill 30 extra minutes from a player that, gives you every, on more games than not, he gives you a little bit of everything and sometimes a lot of something, which we point. So this is a game where they actually dug deep, and you don't say that, or we haven't been able to say that a ton, especially, when you consider how they played the last time the Raptors came to town. So this was a good win for them, and one of their better wins of the season, I think, just from start to finish. Like I said, going up big and holding a double-digit lead in the NBA is not easy. I mean, we see it all the time in the NBA. These teams jump out to big double-digit leads, 15, 16 points, and the blink of an eye, it's 5 points. So you got to kind of tip your hat to the Celtics for keeping the Raptors at bay. Like I said earlier, I mean, the Raptors charged back and the Celtics kept them away. So
yeah, and the other thing too, Jimmy and Josue, is that this was a game that they didn't play perfect. They didn't play near perfect. They were very flawed in this game.
Yeah, they're a flawed team.
They are. But here's the thing. But the fact is, they did a number of things not great. Still were able to maintain a double-digit lead for the most part, get the win against a team that's really good on the road. Because Toronto came into this game is the only team in the Eastern Conference that had yet to lose a game on the road this year.
On the road, yeah, it's the first road loss.
Yeah, it's their first road loss, which for them, there's a bit of irony to that, considering they just got beat by the only team that had one at home. Right. Yeah. So this would qualify as a quality win when you think about how well Toronto have been playing in other people's building and how woeful the Celtics have been at home. So there's a lot of positivity that they can take from this game, but there's also enough bandwidth in this game to where you can look at it and say, well, yeah, but we need to get better at this. Rebounding was something I thought that they did a really good job of early on. It got a little bit closer down the stretch there, but overall, their ability to maintain a presence around the glass, and Rob Williams, we talked about him earlier, but he had a lot to do with that. His activity around the glass, not just the rebound,
first half,
the balls he kept alive.
Who's this? Sorry, Rob?
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. That was huge. Yeah, that effort for sure. And I thought that also when you look at the first half, or no, especially not the first half, the third quarter, when you saw those breakdowns and the way that the Celtics responded, I thought that was big because this Toronto team, people can say what they want about where they stand amongst the top teams in the East, but they're tough. They're physical, they're athletic. We saw the matchup problems that they gave the Celtics in their first, the home opener. But at the same time, you saw that same exact team go against the Celtics, and they didn't look like the same team we saw a couple weeks ago, right? I mean, they really fought for this one. And that's good. I'm glad that they had to fight for it. It wasn't just even though the score may not look that way, I thought that they had to fight in particular spots, especially in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, they didn't fold. They didn't fold, and we've seen them do that time and time again. And they were playing a team who has this season been just the opposite of that. I mean, when the going gets tough, they get going towards a victory. When they beat New York just about a week or so ago, they were down by like 15 points in that game, and they came back on the road and handled their business. So to Jimmy's point, you knew Toronto had it in them to rally and get back in this game. But to the Celtics' credit, they never let them get in any kind of flow or rhythm to make this more of a game.
That's right. So let me just remind everybody, we do have Bobby Manning at TD Guarded. With John not here, Bobby. Who knows what time Bobby's going to show up tonight, but we'll see. We'll see. Hey, Bobby, I know,
he's in the Zoom call.
Producer's not around here, but, you can't don't miss curfew altogether. Like, come on.
Get your ass in here, man. You're not gonna connect on the Zoom anyway, so you might as well start the show.
Yeah, well,
Bobby got Brockton Wi-Fi now. Come on now, stop.
Oh, he's up in the Halo, so you don't have to. Sherrod, are you? Is everyone up in the Halo this year?
No, I don't do Halo. I'm not.
No, I know you're not a Halo guy. Yeah. I've never seen you up there.
I try to stay downtown. Somewhere downtown.
Me and Josue, we kind of grew up in the Halo a little bit. I mean, we've been up there.
You guys don't
get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. We get down on the court plenty, but
no, he knows what you're saying. He's saying that we came up in those Halo streets.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys grew up in Peabody in Western Mass, and every now and then y'all come downtown to Boston.
We know our way around the Halo, and then that's
a good way to put it. I went to college out of Western Mass. I like it. I like the metaphor.
See now they got like the bar and the club up in the Halo too now, so it's a little different. It's kind of like a vibe up there. Before it was just, I mean, you go back like 4 or 5 years.
Entertainment out in the suburbs is what you're saying.
Yeah, they put a club down in Peabody now.
Okay.
Now they got special seating.
Shout out to La Siesta in Peabody. That's my spot though.
That's a good spot. I've been there before. That is a good spot.
I can tell Jimmy. Jimmy hasn't stopped smiling since he said the town people.
That's a great spot, man. La Siesta.
So you saw that too. Yeah, I saw that.
You saw
top
that,
Mexican,
right?
Top Mexican food around, if you ask me. So
you just relived a great time. I could see it. You literally just. All right, let's get back to Rob real quick because I don't want to celebrate this and then forget the fact that these guys did have 3 days off. They were back at home. It was a revenge game against the Toronto Raptors. So is this something that we're going to expect? I mean, I'm not expecting him to be Mr. Double-Double every single night here, but just the approach, just the athleticism, like Sherrod, you said, vintage Rob Williams, if you will. And if you're a Celtics fan or if you're a guy covering the team like we are, we know exactly what you mean by that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he'll necessarily be this dominant or statistically this good every game or even most games. But
come on.
The potential for him to have a significant impact is there night in, night out. He doesn't. To me, he could have missed like 3 or 4 or 5 of the shots, but the way he defended and rebounded and kept the balls alive, that's really what they need from him on a night in, night out basis. Because he's the only guy, if we're being honest and real about it, who has that ability. He's the only one that has that upper echelon athleticism to play above the rims at both ends of the floor, can make an impact without leaving his feet. Guys know that if you're in Rob's neighborhood, he may put your stuff 5 rows back. So knowing that,
words out.
Yeah, and we see it all the time where guys will drive and they'll see Rob and they'll throw something up and it'll be like, damn near off the top of the backboard. Mm-hmm. It'll be short because he has that presence about him. So he needs to continue doing those little things. to help this team win. But obviously, when he has it going like he did tonight, where he was so active on the offensive glass and just really locked in and engaged, and just he played with the kind of refuse to lose mindset that you need to see from him more often.
That's the thing is. That's why I think we were so, like, I don't know if the word's disappointed, confused, or what, or just worried maybe about, is he got some
I
health
think all
issues?
the above, man.
All the above.
I
mean,
all
the above, dude. Like, I mean, when those
every game was one of those.
It was like, well, wait a second. This isn't the Rob Stonk. This isn't the Rob that we saw last year that we were jumping out of the building with him, watching some of the things he was doing, and then it was like, well, does he have, a lower body issue? He doesn't have the legs, doesn't have the, he's a foot lower than he was last season. But then a game like this happens, and I mean, listen, let's not get too crazy here. We don't, it's one game, but to see a performance like that and to see like the energy and the all around game, it's not like he's this world beater on the offensive side. He's going to make his bones athletically and on the defensive end and all that stuff. So that's where you're really looking to see him have that presence down low the way he did. 16 points, 13 rebounds, 8 offensive rebounds. I mean, that's where you want that's how you're going to get those second chance points. If you're not a great shooting team like the Celtics haven't been, you better get some offensive rebounds because you're going to need those second chance points.
Plus, he had a first Siakam on him. Like Siakam wanted all the smoke, but he wanted all the smoke tonight. I mean, you got to give him. I give him credit for standing up to Al. Well, not give him credit, but I give him props rather for stopping him when he did, because that was a you versus me. I'm going to take you down. Let's do this, and he stood his ground. But those are the sort of stops that I thought were going to catapult a huge run, which it did for the Raptors. Just not a big enough run for them to overtake the lead again.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing with Rob is he needs to be intentional with his play. Like, you are an exceptional offensive rebounder. Be intentional with that. You need to bring that to the table every night. You're not going to get every offensive rebound, but you can get your hands on a lot of balls. You can keep balls alive that if they don't go to you, someone else on your team get them. He needs to be that type of player. And here's the thing about Rob, which is funny. Not really, but kind of is to me. So a lot of his success is the failures of those around him. Like, the only reason you can be an offensive rebounder is if guys are missing shots. And because Rob doesn't take shots and miss. He really doesn't miss a lot of shots. And that's because he's cleaning up other guys' crap. Mm-hmm. And that, to me, is his role. He has to understand that I got to make sure that when my teammates are failing, the team won't. When they're missing shots, I got to be that guy to give us another opportunity, give us a second and third shot at that. When he's doing those type of things, this is a tough team to beat. Really tough team to beat.
Bobby. See, Bobby? Oh, I got this, Bobby. I tried to put him on. He puts himself on.
He put himself on? Did he really put himself on? Bobby.
Maybe Bobby Manning's joining us, guys, everyone. There he is. I tried to
what's going on?
Exactly. I was like a DJ when the song was finishing. I was trying to cue him up right into after Sherrod's point there. But
Bobby, who gave you the power to put yourself on?
Bobby did.
I was trying to change my name. I must have hit the wrong button.
Oh,
it works.
Here we go. Fat fingers. All right. Well, hey, you're here now. What's good?
I mixed you in.
What's going on?
How you doing?
Bounce back.
You tell me. Give me your biggest take from this one. You had the Raptor fans hopeful heading into this one. What happened? What went wrong for the Raptors?
It's funny.
Why?
I saw the Raptors fans on Twitter freaking out like the Celtics fans were the first time these two teams played. They just had Toronto on their heels on the defensive glass, I guess, for the Raptors. I mean, they couldn't box out. They were just getting pushed around in the lane. Obviously, the Raptors are a team without a 7-footer, and the Celtics don't really have one either, but length inside between Horford and Rob. I actually thought Ime came up with an interesting strategy for this one. He said, the Raptors, they're going to try to beat us on transition. They're going to try to take stops and just get out there and roll. And we're going to stop that by making them box out, making them stop us on the glass. And Rob just destroyed them in that sense. Al was good there too. Tatum got on the offensive glass at times. It was just a great game plan that the Celtics put out there. This was really the first game I felt like the Celtics played exactly how Ime wants them to play. Running, disruptive on defense, spacing the floor early. It fell off a little bit late. But overall, just the approach was great. They drove a ton. Tatum was in facilitator mode. This was an awesome win and another sub-90 defensive effort. I just thought they were awesome all around tonight. They didn't give up the lead once.
Well, one thing we talked about right before you came in was that second half, right? Obviously, the third quarter was a little scary for Celtics fans. Like, well, wait a minute, here we go again. They might build another double-digit lead here, but that obviously wasn't the case. But I thought they were tired out there. You know, I thought that Ime had to go back to his bench and turn to guys like Romeo and guys like Richardson that of course came through in the first half and they came through again. But is that the sort of production you think that Ime can rely on a night-to-night basis? Obviously this is after 3 days off and being back at home and avenging the first loss at home of the season, and now you finally get your first win of the season. You think this is a sign of good things to come?
I think we're getting there with Romeo. He had a nice block, was hitting the threes in the corners early. He's going to be limited in terms of what he's doing. The stock's rising, but it's not rapid. I mean, we're seeing you're going to need to wait a while to cash in on that one, Sherrod. It's just
I just need profit.
Improvement.
Keep the profit margin expanding. That's all I'm looking for from him.
His portfolio is looking nice right now.
As long as it keeps going in a positive direction. I thought, he made a good impact with his energy and his corner shooting in this one. And he was one of the guys who I thought was instrumental to the game plan of getting open shots off Tatum, knowing that the Raptors were going to be hedging on Tatum and, finding guys when they cut the corners out. Ime, I mean, the stuff on implementing has happened so fast here. I mean, on Monday, he's talking about producing more corner threes. By this game, guys off the corner and just getting wide open looks again and again on Tatum's drives. I'm surprised Tatum didn't have like a 10 to 12 assist game. I know you saw the potential assist, Jimmy, but Langford was great playing off him. They're good. They're a good duo, and he'll cut too. That's another thing you like to see out of him.
Yeah, it felt like Tatum's final numbers didn't do justice to the way he played. And to me, it always comes back to you can talk to your blue in the face about how Tatum needs to pass more, but Tatum doesn't need to pass more. You need to make more shots. That's typically how that stuff works. When you make more shots, he passes more. This is not a chicken is it a chicken or the egg that comes first? No, you make shots because he's going to pass to some degree in the game. And if he's passing to you and you're open and you miss, he has every reason in the world to revoke the passing mantra and get his shot because he knows he can do that. He's that good. So they did a really good job of making the most of Tatum's willingness to get them involved and get them engaged in the game. And to Tatum's credit, even when they got off to a slow start, I think Marcus Smart missed his first 4 shots. And that didn't stop Tatum from trying to get him the ball, which I thought was really, really impressive.
Bobby was just hanging by a thread. He was on that 3G for the last the entire time he was on with us.
He's on that Brockton Wi-Fi?
Yeah, it looked like he was underwater.
To send him the good vibes.
Looked like he was underwater there for a second. But anyways. Yeah, no, I mean I agree with a lot of what Bobby had to say about the game. I mean, I do think it was that defensive effort style that Ime's been sort of preaching. Ime knows that they aren't good enough to outshoot teams. They need to play defense and turn defense into offense, which is what they did. The more stops you get, I mean, I think they held the Raptors to 25% from 3. So, I mean, yeah, some of that's just missing shots on the Raptors' end, but you got to give Celtics credit for at least part of that, low percentage. And when you get those long shots, that's long rebounds, that's outlet passes. I mean, Smart had some really nice passes tonight in that game. And I know Schroeder had 8 turnovers, and people are going to get on him for that. But I thought he was solid on overall. I mean, yeah, you got the turnovers,
I don't know if I would use the word
that's
solid.
A problem.
But
yeah, I don't think I'd use solid.
I would. I mean, he ended up with over 20 points. He shot fine from the field. Solid.
Yeah, but he turned the damn ball over 8 times.
Solid is just that. It's he was solid. He was still a plus overall for the game. I think he was +8 or +10 or something. See you, Bobby, again. And I'm just not going to bash Schroeder tonight because I didn't think that everyone's going to point to the 8 turnovers if they just look at the box score. But if you watch the game, I thought he did a lot of good things out there running the point, and I think they need him to run the point.
Yeah, it's one of those performances where
he did more good things tonight.
Yeah, well, it's one of those performances that if they lose, then it would have been magnified. 8 turnovers, but
right.
But
you'd point to that.
Yeah.
Sherrod, back me up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still Jimmy. It's hard.
Yeah, Schroeder closed the game out. Thank you.
it's hard for me to be cool with a guy that turns the ball over 8 times. I don't give a damn how many points you win by.
Yeah.
Something doesn't.
Well, then
feel
you would
right.
hate James Harden, and you would hate, every other superstar player who has those games from time to time. But it doesn't mean that they don't affect the game in other ways.
Yeah, Sherrod is going to make them run tomorrow morning. That's what he's.
Here's the thing, Jimmy. When you talk about James Harden, he does that every night. He plays damn near 40 minutes every night. Schroeder, you are our fill-in starter.
Yeah, and he did a damn good. I think he did a more than serviceable job. That's why I used the word solid, because I think it was more than serviceable.
I just don't like solid, because solid makes me think that this was a very.
Well, that's how I said solid. I was like, it was solid. Like, it is solid.
Did he overstay his welcome in the starting lineup, Sherrod? Is that what you're trying to say?
You know how some people are in the club and they're really, they like what they're seeing, but you realize, damn, you might need to call it a day. I feel like
it's like Club 30
go left anytime, any minute now.
I mean, you just feel like he's been.
You're
really
just looking at the bartender like, yo, he's good.
Yeah. No, his boy's really doing
good.
that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
His scoring has been great
behind him. Yeah.
His scoring has been great, but it's the turnovers bother me even before tonight. That to me is if he has let's put it this way, the one kink in his armor is he turns the ball over too damn much. But
that's kind of his style, though. He pushes the pace. He's a little reckless, but like you kind of take the good with the bad. I mean, you can't say that you want them to run it and push the pace and be active, and then dog a guy for turning the ball over. I mean, what's the alternative? Walk the ball up, hold on to it for 15 seconds, and then brick a three. Oh, you didn't turn it over though.
Or Jimmy, or you can do what he does often, which is dribble until there's like 4 seconds left, and then he turns the ball over.
That's Tatum.
No, that is Schroeder.
Hey, that's last year.
Schroeder has done that, but
okay, that was last year's.
But Schroeder will push the pace.
He's working on that.
Schroeder will push the pace more than a lot of guys will on this team.
He does, and that's I asked Al about this week about Schroeder, just whether there's like levels to his game that we don't know about or we haven't seen yet. And Al talked about how he's a much better pick and roll performer than he's shown thus far, because he doesn't get in a lot of situations like that. So I'm wondering, as Ime looks to kind of evolve this roster, we may see Schroeder doing a lot more pick and roll when he's got a full complement of players around, because Schroeder will be coming off the bench. And if he's able to be impactful, like getting the ball to Rob for rim runs and things like that, and he's able to knock down shots, now all of a sudden you got a guy off the bench that you really don't know how to handle. And if you got Josh Richardson playing solid defense and your boy Jimmy, your boy Grant doing what Grant does, plus minus for the game,
whatever that is,
shooting. Yeah, what is that? What does he do?
He's gonna give you something though. Grant's gonna give you something.
No, that ain't solid. I'm not using solid for that too.
Stop hating, Jimmy.
No, he's been fine. He's been a basketball player. He's been fine.
Damn,
as John would say. That's what John would say. He's been
You're
fine.
gonna drop John's turn.
He's been a good shooter.
Wow.
Oh, Bobby's back.
That reminds me of the custom players on like NBA, 2K or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, he's a basketball player. He's not.
Yeah, he's ranked 68 to 72 on everything that
Jimmy, you might as well just say he has a pulse.
He does have. Well, he does have a pulse.
That's unfair.
This man's got a job.
He's been good. I'm not here to bash Grant right now. I think he's been fine. He's been whatever. He's just been
I think
great.
You look at him hitting open shots, it's like 50%, which is what we wanted from him before.
Right.
He's been
50?
solid. He's not.
Yeah,
I think on his open threes, he's 50%.
Okay, that's enough talk about him. Talk about Romeo. Okay.
No, I was gonna go Schroeder.
Yeah,
that's my guy.
Oh, go Schroeder. What do you have to say about Schroeder?
All right, with that, why don't we tease a Romeo segment, because we gotta do this now. We gotta talk about Raycon, right?
Okay.
Go to Raycon.com/garden today. Unlock exclusive deals up to 20% off just because you watch us, right? Isn't that great?
Wow.
We're hooking you guys up here, all right?
That's a good deal.
BuyRaycon.com. Again, BuyRaycon.com
is coming.
/garden to unlock 20% off of your Raycons.
These are legit. Listen, they're legit headphones. They're legit earbuds. They're right up there with the premium brands. We're not going to name any names because they don't deserve being named. But if you're looking for something at the gym, looking for something, podcasting, whatever it is, Raycon's a great option, and Christmas is coming. You want to get your orders in fast, because what I'm hearing is that if you order anything in December, it ain't coming until January. It's just,
right.
I'm not talking about Raycon. I'm talking about anything. So get your damn orders in there.
Just like Jimmy's saying about the smooth headphones, though, right? Like seamless Bluetooth pairing, comfortable. The noise isolating fit, you can listen to it right away.
It's an easy gift. No one's ever gonna be like upset about a brand new set of headphones.
Plus, you can listen up to hours too. That's a big plus here. Not all the other headphones have that same sort of battery life like Raycons. So.
Hey Jimmy, if I really gotta, I'll go back to UPS. Remember a year ago I was
true.
doing the UPS thing.
You get to toss on the brown shirt again, yeah.
The Raycons will get there on time.
A lot of people are asking me if I'm wearing Raycons right now. I'm actually not wearing them right now. I use those for the gym. I don't like to combine my headphones. They got different ones for different things. So.
All right, that's buyraycon.com/garden. Get your 20% off.
I don't want the Bluetooth going on with the podcast. Just in the live stuff.
Come on, Jimmy, you're pulling on me. Let's go.
I feel like Romeo is the type that would rock some Raycon. Just zone in right before the game and do his thing because, man, all of a sudden, like he's having these games where it's just instant, right? He goes in there, whether it's that 3-pointer from the corner, whether it's a steal. I mean, obviously tonight
that block at the rim.
The block at the rim, like the chase down, the effort, like he's pure energy. He's exactly what we were saying he wasn't last year, right? Like he would come in there kind of like slumped over. You weren't quite sure, if he was like awake. I think Jimmy used to say that a lot. Like, is he even awake out there? This has been a complete revelation in a sense. Like, but his demeanor doesn't change, right? That's the funny part about it. Like, he's just giving you that energy for the Celtics for sure.
Yeah, Romeo is doing exactly what Romeo should be doing, and that is taking whatever scraps you get minutes-wise and maximizing them. Sit your ass in a corner, wait for Jason Tatum to dribble drive, and he'll pass it to you and knock the shot down. Knock the shot.
Knock it down.
That's literally all you got to do, and play good defense. And Romeo, I think, understands that he is not going to be an all-star on this team. Hell, he's probably not even going to be able to start. But that doesn't mean you don't have value. That doesn't mean you can't impact the game when you're out there. And that's what he's doing more of now. He's making the most of the scraps that he's given him to work with, and the Celtics are better off for it.
Yeah, and it makes me think of that moment we had in Summer League, Sherrod. It was me, you, and Gary talking to him after that game. And just, to go back to the point about him looking asleep and just him not having this real intense demeanor, he was pretty upset that people had an assumption that he didn't care about the game that much. Yeah. And, you let it be known at that time that he's working hard. He's just gone through some bumps and he hasn't played a lot. I'm getting a stronger feeling seeing him play this year that he could be like a 6-man type guy for this group, coming in, gluing together some units. We've seen playmaking flashes from him, not a ton tonight, but in the past that's been an area where he's shown some spurts in. Nothing's going to be explosive with him. I mean, he had this reputation coming out of high school as this massive scorer. I don't think he's ever going to become that. But if he becomes like the name we've used in the past is Avery Bradley. Bradley ended up becoming like a high-level scorer 7-8 years into his career. Toward the end of his tenure in Boston, but for the most part with the Celtics, like his impact was subtle. He would come in and play good defense, move the ball, and finish some shots on cuts and stuff. The one thing I loved about Romeo in this game, he was on
those big three teams. The last couple of runs.
On his role in that team, I love him going to the basket in transition. Even if you don't make it, Rob's right there to get the putback going. You stress the defense out by going downhill, and there's not a lot of that on this team. He's willing to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of speechless because my pick of the kids was Nesmith, and I mean, he looks like the forgotten man. The forgotten man once again. I mean, he got that late minute burn tonight where he just.
Who picked Romeo? Sherrod? Sherrod must have done Romeo.
Sherrod, yeah.
Oh,
everyone knows.
You already know.
Boy. Everyone already knows that. Yeah.
But
Bobby, your Pritchard pick might be worse than my Nesmith pick, though.
People were wondering, Nesmith, 0 for 1 rebound in 7 minutes.
I didn't even notice him play.
It was like the last few minutes of the game, and it was not great. Right. It wasn't noticeable. Put it that way. This isn't really a game where we need to talk about him too much, but I'm not giving up yet.
I just want to see the same kind of effort against the champion Bucks, And I know they're not like the hottest team out right now, but I want to see them dethrone.
No, they're very beatable. I mean, their starting lineup stinks right now with the injuries they have.
That's not my point.
Middleton's out.
I just want to see the same sort of approach.
They won tonight, though. They beat the Knicks on the road. The Bucks did, and I bet
it was
the
a good
Bucks.
Win.
Let's go.
Yeah, you see some of these guys.
Come on, Bobby. Would you really be surprised if they came in here and stole one at TD Garden? I would.
Kind of. If the Celtics play like this, I think if the Celtics don't win, it'll be on Boston. You know, you can.
I don't know. I think if Toronto had themselves at Giannis, we would have had a closer game tonight.
Hey, Scotty Barnes. Some people are using the G word with him. Not quite. I'm not quite there yet, but some people have tossed that around.
The what word?
Yeah. Giannis.
You don't want to know.
It's impossible to slow Giannis anymore. But if you don't have shooting around him, like they don't right now, they're much easier contained. Their offense hasn't been great. They're down the bottom in the league on that end of the floor. They're tough defense, but the Celtics should be favored on Friday.
Well, Middleton's out, isn't he?
Yeah.
Doesn't he have? Yeah. So I mean, he's the Celtics killer. If Middleton's in, I don't know.
Brook Lopez is still out, right?
In Boston.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they have multiple starters out, so they're wicked thin coming in. You gotta win. You gotta keep this string of good play going because the Bucks. You look at them right now; they're not a good team statistically.
Yeah, but you know what's going to happen. What happens when the Celtics play a team that has a former Celtic on it? You know what's going to happen. Shimmy is going to have an amazing game.
He played 28 minutes tonight. Shimmy's getting some burn over there.
The last 3 games, Shimmy's like 8 for 10. Shooting.
Yeah, he's been balling.
He's knocking down shots. Couple games.
He had a couple threes in the first half.
Damn.
We are getting Marcus
a couple days ago.
We're getting Marcus Smart as we speak, so that's a can't miss one. I'll be right back.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, look at Bobby here calling the shots. All right, get something good for Marcus.
Bobby's doing double duty here.
I guess it's a can't miss, right? Marcus Smart.
Hey.
He said it as if like there's still drama in there. I don't know if that's still out there.
Both teams play hard.
Both teams did play hard. Celtics actually did play hard tonight.
They did.
I wanted Bobby's his take on Schroeder, but we'll have to get it on the way back.
Well, how about we transition to Marcus? I mean, this is the classic no one can say anything about Marcus tonight game, right? Like it's like what is there to complain about, man? Especially those stops in transition, showing the rookie like, hey, you got to work a little harder around these parts, man. I think that's the kind of approach that no one complains when they see that side of Marcus. And then offensively, he wasn't as demonstrative as he has to be, or sometimes feels like he has to be. But you got that nice balance tonight, I thought.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, he made shots. I mean, after a really slow start, he missed, I think, his first 5, something like that. And he got into a nice flow, knocking down shots. But here's to me, the best stat line he had all night. 6 assists, 0 turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
That is exactly to the T what you're looking for him. 10 to 12 points, lots of turnovers, very few assists, lots of assists, very few turnovers.
Yeah.
Talking about Schroeder?
Right? I had a Schroeder moment there. My bad.
Talking about Schroeder, my man. My guy Schroeder.
Schroeder's like, what's up? I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You say my name.
That's what you need from Marcus. You need him to just be that reliable facilitator and be a reliable receiver. I mean, as Josue, as you pointed out earlier, that pass that Tatum made to him, that's a tough shot to make.
Yeah.
I mean, Tatum was going one way, passes not looking to in the other direction, and you got to be ready for that. And you're on the block, and that was a really good play. And
he was surrounded by defenders. Yeah.
And I thought Marcus, the one thing he did that was I thought really impressive was I thought he got better as the game went on. Like at first, it seemed like he was stacking shots, taking shots that weren't really any kind of flow, and then he just kind of worked his way into knocking down shots, getting other guys involved, making the hockey assist from time to time, just doing the things that he absolutely has to do for them to be competitive. Because they can't win if they can't compete, and they got to compete first. And Marcus, I thought, did a good job of doing his role and helping them compete.
And, he takes a lot of heat from a lot of people in Boston. But one thing people never really question is his effort and his intensity out there. I mean, you can question the shot selection or the decision-making sometimes. But on a night like tonight, like you said, Sherrod, that's like every number here is like a sweet spot for him, right? I mean, the points, the field goal attempts, 6 assists, 3 steals, 0 turnovers, which, might be the most important one of all when you're talking about a starting guard. And not, letting the sort of like that's kind of how it looks like he let the game sort of come to him a little bit, not trying to be the hero. And maybe it's because they didn't, like I said, they did it with defense tonight. They kept the They opened up a lead and they kept the Raptors away. They didn't need hero ball at any point in this game. They needed just execution on both ends of the court and just sort of like maintain this little distance from them. So it was it was their game to it would have taken just complete brain farts to change the pace of where they were going on this game. So. And that Marcus Smart, credit to him. I mean, he that's what being a starting point guard, starting caliber guard is all about: setting the pace, keeping your guys in check, and just playing smart basketball.
Yeah. A part of me just feels like Marcus was going into this one like, so I know no one's named captain, but we know I'm the unofficial captain, though, right? Like I got that title back, right, guys? No, guys, I'm serious. Like, you guys know that, right? Like, I feel like, or at
That's
least
probably why they never named captains.
Yeah, mentally, he was like, well, yeah, everyone knows I'm the captain here, and doesn't have to be an official
I'm the
title.
captain now.
He went right into captain role tonight, right? And what I mean by that was just not letting up and just continuing to be tenacious on the defensive end, especially in that third quarter when the Raptors were starting to build some momentum.
Mm-hmm. What we get, Bobby? What do you get? What'd you get from Marcus?
Nothing. Short and sweet.
Okay.
Yeah, come on. I didn't expect anything. I mean, not because
No,
Marcus
they asked him about
a lot of stuff, but this is that game where he's not going to say anything crazy. This is a good
I wasn't
win.
expecting crazy, but maybe he had something insightful to say.
Yeah, I mean, what did he say, Bobby? Like, what stands out, Bobby, that he talked about?
Oh, he got asked about the comments and kind of how Jalen and Jason bounced back from his call out of them, and he just basically said we played a good game.
I gave himself a pat on the back.
Yeah.
Okay, Marcus. Okay, you got that one.
You weren't going to get a bombshell after what happened the last 2 weeks after those comments from him, which, again, I didn't have a strong problem with. The context of it, how he had been playing at that time, it wasn't a great moment. It wasn't a great fit. And obviously the team and, from every level said it wasn't a good idea for him to do that. So at the end of the day,
I totally disagree with that. I totally disagree with that. I think it was a great idea that he did that because he had what Josue likes to talk, those uncomfortable conversations. Yeah. And what he said led to them having uncomfortable conversations. I don't think it's a coincidence that when you look at when he made those comments, look at how they played since then.
Were those conversations productive or even all that beneficial?
Well, let's see. The bottom line is winning games. And last I checked,
it's
starting to do that now.
To Sherrod's point, though, it triggered the meeting, though. So let's call it what it is. Let's point at the domino effect instead of pointing at the exact comments, right? Oh, he called everyone out because that was the headline. Oh, he called his guys out. He called his guys out, but we had to wait to see what's going to happen, how they're going to respond,
because the whole point of him calling them out is that they need to play better so this team can start winning. That was the whole point. That was
right,
the point.
But there was that risk that it may not have been received well, and people may respond the other way.
But you know what? Don't matter. I could care less how your feelings are when I tell you that straight no chaser truth. That's what Smart gave them. He gave them the straight no chaser truth, and it did not go down smoothly. When you take that first shot, Josue, and you know about this, that first shot, it don't go down smooth. It's a little, you kind of feel it. You kind of
things up. Yeah, it's the.
And you know what?
It's the toughest one.
That's what you needed, though. That's what you needed.
But you know what, though? That's what a leader does, right? At the end of the day.
Exactly. Leaders, you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, even if it means you become unpopular in the process. Because I don't believe this team will be playing as well as they are if that initial comments made by Marcus, which led to conversations, never happened.
Oh, I don't think so. What do you guys think?
I don't know if it solved everything though.
No, it didn't. It did not. It did not. But it at least got them out of the damn mud slide that they were in. Because they weren't going anywhere the way they were playing, the way they were communicating or not communicating. Someone had to get them back on the damn trail. Doesn't mean you're going to get to the finish line first, but you got to get your ass out of the mud first. Yeah. That's what those comments to me did for this team.
We'll definitely look back at that time and think, well, hey, that's a point for Marcus, I think. For sure.
If they make a deep playoff run that'll shock the hell out of most people, and you start trying to,
it always does.
Where did they turn? Where was the turning point? That is going to be seen as a turning point.
That'll be one. I just find it hard to believe that they haven't had like these types of conversations. I mean, these guys aren't new guys.
On blast like that, though, Jimmy.
Yeah,
I know. Like,
yeah, this was a very direct shot. This wasn't like
it was,
hey,
and
the
I think
team needs to play better. It was like, nah, y'all two dudes.
I don't think there's
from your own guy.
I don't think there was a lot of people
from
upset
your own platoon.
I don't think anyone really disagreed with what he said. I think some people would have liked him to maybe accept some accountability as well.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
Because, I mean, it's not like hasn't had his own warts and
It's funny. His comments got himself going. That was the biggest difference the last couple of games because Tatum's doing what Tatum's been doing, right? And Brown's not even playing right now. So this is.
I think that's why people got so upset though, because they looked at it through that lens. Oh, he just wants the ball more. They looked at it through that narrative.
That was the biggest problem I had with it.
I never saw it as, Marcus is complaining because he's not getting the ball enough. No,
he said I'm stuck in the corner.
He was talking about an offense as I know, but it's almost like in my mind, it was metaphorically speaking, and everyone thought he meant literal. Like, oh, he's in the corner waiting for the ball. Like, I took it as the metaphor. That was just me.
Took it as a metaphor. Josue's going into metaphors over here.
Sitting in the corner.
Took it as more of like a simile, but.
The big thing, bottom line is didn't
fit in the corner like Smart.
He didn't feel that he was engaged enough in what they were doing, and he was basically saying, Tatum and Brown, y'all the reason why I'm not engaged. So,
right,
what y'all gonna do?
That's an alliteration right there.
Yeah.
This is not English class, y'all. So cut that shit out.
Haiku. Sherrod's like, yo,
I deal enough with this shit.
Yeah, he's taking a break.
I don't come over here for that.
Some grammar lesson.
No, here's what I love about
that Mice of Men bar that you dropped last week, though. That was dope.
Did he go Mice and Men on everybody?
Here's what I love about what Smart's been doing is he has taken his lackluster three-point shooting and gone downhill throughout the course of games. He's getting to the free throw line more. I thought he had his best free throw season ever last year. Starting to get back to that point with about 4 a game this last week or so. Posting up, Ime's a guy who's willing to let him do that and make plays out of that spot, and it's working well for the Celtics as a whole. And really, I didn't get this sense last year, and we're starting to see it again now, just him diving on the floor more, him just getting wrapped up with guys, like those Marcus moments that were just constant, like every single night you'd have one early in his career. I didn't see a ton of that last year. I'm seeing that now the last week or two. Like every single game he has a big play, a breakup, a deflection. How about that steal he got in the corner that he tossed like over the whole defense, got it just over Siakam, the Schroeder. Yeah. That's like a vintage Smart play. I mean, he's just been awesome, I thought. And, if he shoots 30 to 35% from 3, all of a sudden he's the normal Smart, everything we've expected the last couple of years. So he's really not that far off from what he's done in the past to help this team. But, man, it was bad the first couple of weeks. And that was my problem, Josue. 0 assists that night, not playing well at all. Yeah. Not doing all that much to get the offense going himself. The context of it wasn't great, and I think that's why the Jays saw it and just kind of rolled their eyes.
Yeah, but I feel like going into this, though, a lot of the Marcus Smart naysayers, they didn't give him a chance because they were like, okay, we want you to shoot less and shoot at a higher percentage. It's like, well, that's not going to work. Like, especially with the way this offense works through Tatum and Brown. I mean, I never expected him to all of a sudden become a 44% shooter from behind the arc, like that's just not, I don't think
that's he's never going to do that. He's never even going to push 40.
So I feel like he never stood a chance in the sense of people looking at what he's going to do offensively, pure from out of, his attempts and his shooting percentages.
No, I mean, the bottom line with him and really with a lot of the guys not named Tatum, not named Brown, is figure out how to make an impact. Figure out what you need to do to make an impact. That doesn't mean you're going to be perfect. In fact, you're not perfect. We all know that. Y'all got lots of freaking flaws, if we keep it honest. But that doesn't mean you are a bad player. That doesn't mean you can help this team win. That's where this team, I think, is starting to slowly but surely gel. Figuring out not just what their roles are, but what is your role in winning games. Because just because you've got a certain role that you want to play and you're good at it, doesn't mean it's going to help me win some damn games. What can you do that's going to help me win games? And they're starting to get an understanding of what that means. And I give Ime credit. I mean, he is not flinched at all in his approach to dealing with them. He is bringing that straight, no chaser truth every day.
I'm loving Ime. Like, I really am. The honesty, how quickly he gets his message across, how confident he is in his game plans. And just when he sees something, he implements something immediately. The defense
Other than captain, but that's another story.
That one didn't come.
He'd like to have that one back, I think.
Yeah.
But at least he was smart enough to just say, you know what, we got bigger stuff to worry about than that.
Yeah. At least he didn't say the whole like we're not quite there yet. It's like, nah, man, just either announce it or just kill it. Like,
I feel like he's gonna get asked about captains like every week the rest of the way. He's probably
I don't think
like,
so.
oh,
I don't think so.
He put the kibosh
on
it.
The kibosh to that this week.
Finally, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
the rear view comment is that was it.
To me, that was just kind of sad that they couldn't like figure out who the captain should be or deserve to be. But I'm not going to harp on it. It is what it is.
Well,
it's kind of a tough look.
What did you think about the reasoning though? Like, guys being out. Like, is that an actual? Like, I don't know. Like,
I'll say this.
That's weak as hell.
We know the
reason. Right? Okay, I thought it was
just
just me. I'm like, that's the reason.
Listen, you don't name a captain because they're available.
Yeah.
You don't name a captain because they're in good shape.
They name
a captain because that's your leader. That's the guy that you want to be the one that your team emulates.
Sherrod, they named Rondo the captain while he was sitting in street clothes on the sideline.
Exactly. The last captain wasn't even.
That was a little different, though. That was a little
different because, well, first of all, the thing about Rondo was this, and then he was a hell of a player when he was here, and he was at his best when the stakes were highest. You don't get a nickname like Playoff Rondo just being a guy that shows up every now and then. So you could understand why he would be a captain because that's a guy that you could see your players following because again, he
has captain qualities,
right? But
especially when
Tatum's been a really good player, but not really sure he's got the team by the throat, so to speak. Same thing with Jalen. Al has been a captain before in Atlanta, but there's some reluctance to name him that because he's not necessarily someone that is going to be part of this team's future long term going forward. And then you got Marcus, who's sort of kind of been captain-esque without the title per se.
Yeah.
And he's probably wondering, well, why don't y'all just give me the title? Or if you're not going to give me the title, then forget it. I don't care about it.
Sherrod, when they said we're going to name two captains, it was very obvious who those two captains were going to be.
You wanted to be Jalen and Jason.
Yeah. And then Smart comes out.
Did that bother Marcus, Bobby?
Yes.
I made the joke that before you came back on, I don't know if you were here for this, but I made the joke that he went in tonight because he knew that the captain thing is dead and he knows he's the unofficial.
He got the de facto, the de facto.
Once and for all.
He came out minutes after Udoka pitched the idea. I thought it was the most damning moment of the season so far publicly, like in interviews, when Udoka pitched this idea. Yes, because you have a new coach. He pitched this idea. Maybe it doesn't matter, and these guys just roll their eyes at it. But it was important to him messaging-wise to be able to say, all right, maybe this is something that can get these guys going as leaders. Maybe they'll walk with a little pep in their step if they have the C. Like, we knew it didn't really matter, but can you come out and say, oh, yeah, we'll get right behind our captains. We're excited, blah, blah, blah. Smart comes out and says, captains don't matter. We're adults. We don't need that. Like, come on. That was so ridiculous the first few weeks of the season.
But you think it's because he said two? Because he's like, really? There's going to be another one?
When you say there's two captains and you have two stars, that's a very obvious message.
Yeah, because if Ime would have kept it wide open and said something to the effect that you will have captains, plural, that could be two, it could be three, it could be four.
But also,
the worst thing he could have done was take a vote because then it would have been like Horford.
The worst thing
or you take one of them. You take either Tatum and Brown and pair him with Smart or whoever.
The worst thing he did was even like mention that they were gonna have captains. Like
would have been like Survivor.
They didn't announce that they were gonna make Rondo the captain. He just showed up with the captaincy one game. Like
it was obvious who the one face of the team was.
Exactly. I mean that was a gimme. But in this case, nobody was just thinking that Ime's gonna name captain soon. Like he obviously came out and said it, but he didn't have to. It could have just happened, and we would have just found out like everybody else would have found out. But then you bring it up. Now the media's asking about it. Now they're asking the players about it. Oh, like, who do you think it's going to be? Like, who should it be? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It just becomes like a thing that it should never have been. So
it's kind of funny just looking at it in hindsight now because, like Bobby pointed out, they had the guy. I don't understand. If you knew that you wanted 2 captains, why the hell did you just name the 2 captains?
Right. Yeah. Was there a tryout? Was there a shooting competition?
Yeah. What did
they have to play horse or something like that?
Yeah.
I mean,
how close was Neesmith and Pritchard to being the captains here?
I mean,
what's the contest here?
Was there a game of knockout and where somebody like Bruno Fernando won and they're just like, oh no.
Yeah, you know what? We're not gonna do it after all.
I'm afraid Ime, like after this first month or two, the stuff he said, like he's gonna pull a Brad and just be like, "Oh, the opponents are great." Like Brad just started doing with the media because he criticized.
I don't think Ime is wired for that.
No, he's not.
I need to know what was the process in this.
You've seen an adjustment, Sherrod, right? Like he was getting on guys early publicly, and it's softened a bit. It has. He's not drilling guys for every.
Well, I think it's softened for 2 reasons. One, I think he realizes it's not productive, first and foremost. Yeah. And number 2, I think guys are just playing better and practicing better. I think he has an idea of what he wants to see out on the floor, and I think they are much closer to that now than they were 2 or 3 weeks ago. Because I think for him, he's thinking, we got all these veterans in here, and veterans are supposed to have a high basketball IQ, and they're supposed to figure shit out quickly. And they're not figuring this out quickly. Not as quickly as I think they should. And now they are.
And their defense is awesome. Like, this is what I pictured going into this year, looking at it on paper. 93 defensive rating the last 4 games. Holding the Mavericks down for large stretches of that game, shutting down the Heat, who had the best offensive rating ever at that point.
And you know what, Bobby? They're not switching every single possession. They're switching, but they're not switching every time the ball swings. They're not doing that. And
Sherrod even asked Ime about that this week.
Yeah, it's like they finally figured out that, you know what, I'm going to take ownership and defend the hell out of this guy. But if I get in trouble, my teammates got my back. You can't use the concept of switching as a default defense all game. You have to try to guard your yard, and they've done and you're right, Bobby. I mean, they've done a much better job.
Switching's for cowards, I'll say it.
Well, switching is necessary when you get your ass beat defensively, and your teammate can help you out. But don't allow the switching to be your primary way of defending. And that was a problem. It's like they weren't even trying really to stay with their men. They're thinking that, well, I'll just tag with you for a minute and then I'll switch. Yeah. They're actually trying to fight under screens and over screens.
Here comes the screen. I
always hated switching, especially on the pick and roll. Always
They're still gonna switch.
They're still gonna do it, but they're not doing it nearly. It hasn't become their default defense from day one.
Yeah, early on they were switching everything.
Seeing a difference.
Everything, and it made no sense.
Like Udoka said, it was like fluff off the balls that they were switching and giving up matchups and all that. And this wasn't Udoka married to this style early on. I think he wanted to get them all reps with it. He called it an extended preseason the first few weeks there, and they got better at it. So then they started implementing some drop. They started implementing some zones. I think we saw a bit of against Miami. They are phenomenal at this switching, though, and there's a reason they want this to be instrumental to what they do. So you see some of the stats I wrote about for BSJ last week. Like they're 0.76 points per possession on switching plays, which is phenomenal. They were the most switches in the league to start this year. So, like, you're right, Sherrod. Ramp it back a little bit. Show some other styles that the matchup's conducive to. I think Horford is sensational in drop defense.
Yes,
but that switching is going to be key to what they do. Because look at the Warriors to their championship teams. But look at some of these great teams throughout the years. They switched.
They do. But as great as Al is, you can see the teachings of Al and Rob. You go back and you look at that Dallas game, and I think Ime may have talked a little bit about this. When Dallas was trying to create that switch where Rob would be out on Luka, and Rob was smart enough to say, Jay Rich, you get into that play. I'm just going to drop back. Little things like that don't show anywhere up in the stat sheet shows how guys like Rob, who, again, he's relied so much on his athleticism to play at this level, is starting to figure out how to use his mind as well as his body. And that, for me, gives me hope that this team can figure out how to be really good sooner rather than later. As long as they can keep this core group together and guys can stay healthy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the big one.
They got a shot to make a little noise as we get deep into the season.
All right, let's do this one more time, guys. Let's remind everybody. If you haven't already, there's still plenty of time. All right. Go to buyraycon.com/garden. Plus, what are we right around the corner now? Before we got on this,
Buy
I was just
Raycon.com.
Sherrod and Jimmy how people are going all in on their Christmas decorating. And I'm like, man, I swear, now it's November 1st. Well, you know what? You want to get a head start on your Christmas shopping? Well, here you go. Head over to buyraycon.com/Jordan and get 20% off. All right. Hook up your friend with a brand new pair of Bluetooth headphones. You know, everyone loves those.
You know what? You might be going to see the fam at Thanksgiving, and you might not catch up with them at Christmas because of whatever travel craziness. So you want to get your gifts out there early. You just want to get it over with. Just get it done with. Friendsgiving, maybe you got a Yankee swap. Toss the gift in there. You want to have the good gift at the Yankee swap too.
Or better yet, Jimmy, you might want to get some for your damn self.
I could.
Yes, that's true.
I mean, for all you know, I have a pair already.
I buy.
If I had to guess,
myself,
Jimmy doesn't mess around with the with the Yankee swaps. You know, you're very.
Become correct, dude. And I better not get screwed either, because I'm gonna ruin the party for the rest of the night. If I walk out of the Yankee swap with the worst gift, if I get that like number 2 overall, it's just the swap is over.
All right,
if I ain't having fun, no one is.
The best part of Raycon offers 8-hour playtime and 32-hour battery life. All right, also a built-in mic, and you can take calls on your earbuds just from pressing a button, just like all the premium new Bluetooth earbuds.
Come on, Josue.
Buyraycon.com/garden right now.
20% off.
20.
Do it.
It's actually a good deal. No lie. I went on a website to check it out. It's you know, you're gonna spend a hell of a lot more for a product that's at best just as good. So why do that? Plus our guy Ray J.
Before the discount, these are pretty good prices.
Ray J's the
Russ on it right now. He's like, I'm gonna hook somebody up.
Ray J's a big fan of the show. I would imagine Ray J's a big fan of the show, and we're gonna try to get him on at some point. Ray J's the owner of Raycon.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
These are good prices.
That's the connection there.
With that. What are we talking
Ray
about?
J.
Here? All right, guys. One more time. Let's go across
the Ray J. That's all I'm gonna say.
How are we feeling about going? The Celtics going up against the Bucks. All right. I still think it's going to be.
Hold on. Before we preview, Bobby, what did you want to say? You said something about.
Well, I'll make my last point on Josh Richardson, who has impressed me over the last week or so.
Yes, he's balling out.
That's a guy who's taken advantage of Udoka's willingness to shoot some more mid-rangers, find some different spots on the floor to score from. And that's an area where it looks like he's a little more comfortable taking shots out of. You know, he stepped in the three-point line in the corner, got a good one to go. Secondary playmaking from him has been strong. But really, the one thing, I'm not the biggest fan of him in the world. Sherrod was higher on him coming into this year. Mm-hmm. Defensively, he's going to endear himself to Celtics fans big time. We're starting to see it. The chase down strip, the big block attempt that ended up in a foul. He was just overall awesome on that end of the floor. His instincts are great. His intensity's high. That's going to keep funneling him minutes, even though we have hope for some of these younger wings. His defense is just great. I mean, that's always been the staple of his game, and now it's starting to make an impact. Now that he's getting more connected with other guys. I thought him and Smart looked awesome together. Him and Tatum showing some chemistry. And you know what? The off-ball three-point shooting numbers, see 2 for 4 tonight, they're solid for him. Yeah. I mean, he's like a 33 career guy, and he's up like 35, 36 right now after this game. He's been good, better than expected to me.
Yeah, and the big thing with him, and we talked about, I can't remember if you were on or not, but make open shots. When you got guys like Tatum and Brown on your team, they're going to draw so much attention that if you are on the floor, get to your spot where you know you can knock down shots and just wait. Just wait. If you're going to stand in the corner and be ready to shoot when you get the rock. Because that's what Romeo is doing. That's what, Josh is doing. That's what guys who are playing are doing. And they're getting wide open shots. And that's literally the difference, the biggest difference between them now versus the first couple of weeks of the season. They weren't making those shots. And if I'm Tatum, I can get you 27 a night. If I'm Jalen, I can get you 25 a night. And you want me to pass the dudes who can't make open shots? I'm going to do that once or twice. But when the game gets on the line, hell no. I'm calling one number, mine, often. But now, when you have those guys starting to make more shots, that's not only breeding confidence in them, but it's breeding confidence in your best players in them. You're going to see Tatum kick out to Romeo, even though he could drive to the basket and maybe finish at the rim, maybe get contact. But Romeo's wide open in the corner. I'm going to pass to him because I trust he's going to make that shot. That's what we're seeing the last, I'd say, 4 or 5 games that we weren't seeing earlier in the season.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's what I got my eye on, especially the second unit, combination of those guys, whatever it takes to keep that consistency going. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at Nesmith as well. I don't think this is going to be the end for Nesmith. I think he bounces back here. Maybe if it's not against the Bucks, one of those games over at, the back-to-back in Chicago. We'll see.
I'm gonna hold off on my Nesmith stock until after Thanksgiving. I'll jump back on him
as you should. You got all that Romeo with you. So
I got my Romeo stock. It's just every game, it seems like it's just going
climbing. Dude, you gotta know you gotta know when to sell though. You can't be a bag holder.
Well, I have a date.
It's not gonna go to the moon.
Jimmy, we know. Jimmy, I will not get stuck with the Romeo stock at the end of the year.
You don't want to be like me, dude, holding all the bags at the end of the day. I get the Nesmith bag right now.
I damn sure don't want to be like you, Jimmy. You're right. You're right about that.
Bobby, what you got?
Out the next few games, I'm expecting a win over the Bucks. That Cleveland series you mentioned, though, I'm so curious about that one because, man, the Cavs are playing great. I mean, Ricky Rubio's moving the ball. Evan Mobley's leading the team in league in defensive contests. Phenomenal rookie who's making a massive impact. They're tough. I mean, this isn't the Cleveland of post-LeBron years that you're going to see this weekend. And they're playing them twice. So that's a big, big weekend that the Celtics can really start to rise up the conference if they take advantage of this.
No longer are they the cadavers.
No, you're retiring it, Sherrod? Already?
But Sherrod, there's still nothing great about spending the weekend in Cleveland, though. Come on,
no. They're legit. No. I mean, they're legitimately a good team. And Jared Allen, we're going to be talking about him for Most Improved Player of the Year, the way he's coming on.
Yes.
So,
they have a
bunch of guys that are going to be in the conversations. If they keep playing like this for some postseason or end of the season awards and accolades, except for MVP, they ain't got no one who's even for that.
No, Colin Sexton's out too, and Markkanen's in the COVID protocol, so maybe catch a little break there. You're definitely catching a break against the Bucks with all the guys they have out. So again,
you got Shimmy.
Keep it rolling.
Bobby's guy, Ricky Rubio in Cleveland's balling out right now.
Ricky Rubio.
Fun over there.
Bobby,
he had 39, right?
Who did you say? I don't know if it was on video or a text. You were like, if his comp is Ricky Rubio, that's not that great of a pick or something like that. Who was that?
It was one of the draft prospects.
Was it Pritchard?
No, it was a guy they didn't end up getting.
Because I was like, that's crazy. Rubio is. If you ended up with a Rubio,
Pritchard.
It was about Pritchard. It was like that's not a home run pick.
I think Jimmy's doing that thing where he's answering his question.
He's absolutely doing that thing where he's.
I was gonna give Bobby a chance to be like, but he didn't. He tried to sneak out of it. But
he's like, no, I meant the prospect from Maryland or something.
that nobody knows.
Jimmy thinks this is Jeopardy. Ask a question, and when you don't answer, then you answer the damn question.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll take bad Bobby takes for 200, please.
Listen, no, I'm going to defend it right now. I still stand by that because Rubio's a guy, and I love my Spanish players. He has his flashes.
Okay.
I mean, he has these awesome games. And then for 10, 15 games, it's he's shooting 40% because he can't shoot. So that was my point. You get a good playmaker who can't shoot and just isn't that consistent on offense. You end up with Ricky Rubio, and Minnesota just kind of dumped him to Cleveland. So there you go.
Yeah, there was a point in Ricky Rubio's career where he was one of the worst perimeter shooters in the NBA.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember that because I would write about how, please, give me anyone but Ricky Rubio.
And let's be real. He's awesome in the Olympics. I mean, he almost went out and beat Team USA on his own.
Yeah.
But in the NBA, he's been up and down. And, every single time he plays great, you're going to have a Jimmy saying, oh, look at Rubio. But then what follows?
If he tears the Celtics up,
game that got exposed, especially when it comes to score first point guards, the golden era of it. He walked right into that.
Yeah, he's been awesome for Cleveland, though. I'm not going to understate that. $17 million, though. I wasn't taking him on the Celtics.
Right. No, he's been solid.
All right, Jimmy, did you go yet? You didn't go yet.
We talk about final thoughts.
Yeah, final thought. Final thought. Hanging to Friday's game against the Bucks at TD Garden.
Yeah, I don't think I'm as low on the Bucks as Bobby is. I mean, this is a team that obviously knows how to win. They've beaten the Celtics before on numerous occasions. I know that, Middleton, I don't know what the deal is with Middleton. Is he going to be out for sure?
He's in COVID protocol. Yeah.
So he might not be out though?
No, he'll be out. I don't know.
No, it fits under the protocol for sure, so he won't play.
Okay, yeah. So if he's not back in time, then that's a huge bonus for the Celtics because Middleton is just a Celtics killer. But that should be a fun game. It should be a very competitive game. I don't know what the line is, but I imagine it'll be very close. I think the Celtics, after tonight's performance, I think they could be favored by a point or two at most. So that'd be a fun one. Other than that, listen, I just thought the Celtics played a complete game tonight on both ends. The Raptors never led at any point in this game. They kept them at bay in the second half when the Raptors tried to make a little charge. And, like I said earlier, any win with Jaylen Brown out of the game is a good win because you didn't think that they were built to win with Brown or Tatum not playing. So you'll take that. Lastly, I just want to say, I saw in the comments, we were talking about Christmas. These aren't Christmas lights. These are string lights.
Jimmy, I know the Celtics are playing the Bucks on Christmas. Jimmy thought it was
like
this
55 minutes ago.
I saw the comments that they were rifling when we were doing the read. These are not Christmas lights. These are string lights. This is my loft. I'm trying to decorate the place. So maybe I'll give everybody the cribs tour when it's done. But
you're
one of those people, huh? November 1st, you got the lights up.
These are not Christmas lights. These will be up year-round. It just so happens that they went up about a week ago.
They went up in November as opposed to July or August.
Right. Yeah. But
they will stay
up. Nothing wrong with that. Bobby definitely got the same lights. That's what it is.
Middleton positive for COVID. He'll be out Friday.
I think Friday is like the 10th day, though.
Is it? From November 3rd?
Oh, is he
on the bubble? You're right.
I think,
that'll be 9 days. So I think he'll be out. From November 3rd?
Oh, it'll be 9 days.
It was the 3rd. It was one of those. Who knows, Sherrod? Maybe he tests out. There's a couple different ways you can get out.
How many days was it, guys? Come on. No, I'm just kidding.
Because I thought the announcement came on November 2nd. So 10 days from now will be the 12th.
And that'll be Friday.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Bobby.
Because remember when Al was out, and the 10th day for Al was like the day, like a game day.
Yeah, you need 10 days or the 2 negative tests. So either way, you could end up testing out. We'll see.
You're right. That was the 10th day, and he played that day. Right, that was his first day back.
So you just never know. But regardless of whether Middleton plays or not, Shimmy's gonna have a big ass game. Y'all know it.
I'm not counting on that. I'm not going that far.
Like, what's he gonna do? What can he
possibly do? You're convincing me. Honestly, he's starting to convince me.
What can he do? I mean, what can he do?
You guys act as if guys that were former Celtics don't ball out. First time they play the Celtics again. Don't act like
the best one was Rondo, man. What was it? 73 points?
Yeah, but those guys balled out on the Celtics too.
Kelly
Olynyk, they balled out.
Oh, come on, Shimmy like that.
Look, Shimmy is playing his best basketball right now. He is being the best version of Shimmy Ojale right now.
Yeah, he is definitely doing that. Now,
who's done that though?
I guess balling out is all relative. It's all relative.
Watch, it's gonna hit me after we log off. But someone who similar to Shimmy, didn't make a big name for himself, and then all of a sudden made a splash somewhere else. I'm trying to think of who. Someone like the last 5 seasons or so.
Dwight Powell.
Could have been him. Could have been. There was a guy in the Nuggets too. What was his name? PJ Dozier.
Evan Turner just got paid. I remember that.
Evan Turner balled out on the Celtics and then didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't say
he came back, he was all right.
Say he really balled out after that.
Olynyk was pretty good in Miami.
Olynyk was pretty good. No, I'm saying when he came back though. I'm thinking about that game
when he came back.
Jonas Jerebko, was it him?
Maybe.
Jay Crowder. I think it was Jonas. I think he had like 19 against the Celtics for his first game.
He was with the Warriors, right?
Yeah. I think that was that game where they were all pretty close, but
oh my God, Kyrie kicked the Celtics ass every time, but that won't be happening soon.
Yeah. We may never see him again.
Celtics Nets end of the month. That'll be a good one.
I don't think he'll be there. All right, guys.
I don't think so either.
We're out of here until Friday. Sherrod Blakely, Jimmy Toscano, Bobby Manning from TD Garden. I am Josue Pavon. This has been the Celtics Postgame Show.